going on, guys? Welcome back to the Cirque Curve channel. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Today I'm going to be doing another episode of the style study, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so Pios has been writing graffiti now since the start of 2020 and he's from Germany, and I really appreciate you sending in this piece today. Let's talk about what I like about it and where I feel like improvements could be made. Firstly, I'd just like to say I really like the structure here. I like how he's kept it simple with a 3D and the structure, simple fill-in and a simple drop shadow. This is really the kind of stuff that people need to do when they start off, you know. Don't jump straight into the really hard wild styles and stuff like that because you want to make something that looks really nice straight away. Always best to start with a good foundation, learn the fundamentals, learn the basics, and this is a good example of that. So I'll just pop up on screen now the letter structure that he's gone for. So we've got a P, E, O and an S, and straight away I feel like this is very sound. The reason for that is because he's kept it very blocky and he's really abided by the kind of rule that everything needs to be the same weight. Not all areas of the letters need to be the same weight, but each letter needs to be the same weight, and this allows him to have a very nice balance among the piece. You know, the PE weighs out the OS very nicely. If we drew a line of symmetry down there between the E and the S, we'd have a good balance on the two sides. I also like how we've got the top of the P here, this kind of area that I'm highlighting now. So this kind of area here on the top of the P, this bar tucks very nicely in this sort of cutout that we've got behind the E here. And that I really appreciate in pieces where people have taken thought to kind of allow the letters to sort of act like puzzle pieces and fit together. I don't know if he's done that intentionally, but that's sort of what I read from it. So we've got the E here, we've got two flat edges, and we've got sort of a flat edge here on the O coming down, which pairs up with those very nicely. And then finally on the O, we've got this nice curved line here, nice contour that kicks around. And we've also got that on the S, which sort of matches up very nicely. And I personally just think that's a really nice sort of way of kind of allowing the letters to flow together nicely and act like puzzle pieces, like they fit together. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. One thing on the structure that does sort of kind of look out of place and I feel like is wrong is the letter S. The reason for this is quite simple. Looking at it, you can tell it's sort of something's off straight away. And the reason for this is because the structure's wrong. I'll pop up on screen a couple traditional S's here and you can see what I mean. And the reason for that is these two lines here need to pair up. They need to overlap one above the other, and that's kind of gives the structure of the S. Okay, and I fixed this very simply just by extending his outlines, as you can see here. I'll zoom in to make it a little bit more clear. So we've got the two bars here that I've just extended up. So there's the before. So yeah, extended them up, and it becomes a lot more clear that it's an S, and I feel like that helps with the structure as well. But I'll take that away while we talk about the rest of the piece here. So height is really important in lettering, especially graffiti. So some more developed artists will use height as sort of a way of introducing styles. They'll have different letters at different heights. So when you're starting off, you really want to keep all the heights the same, and that's whether it's a tag, throw up, a piece, straight letter, whatever you're doing, keep them all the same, and he's done that very nicely. So if I stick these rulers in here, we can see the height, and then you can work into your 3Ds and your fills and all that. So working from the height rule is a really easy rule. Try and stick by it when you're first starting off. Another thing that obviously draws the eye on this piece is the 3D element that he's put in with the 3D and the drop shadow. So firstly, I'll start off talking about the 3D. Really great job on this as well. So he's done a really simple drop down 3D, which I highly recommend on anyone kind of starting off. And he's done this perfectly in the fact that he's done them all the same depth. If I throw up some arrows here, we'll be able to see. So there we go. We can see that all of the 3D elements on every letter are the same depth. You know, that's just consistency throughout. If we had them at varying depths, it would really throw the eye off and it would look like some letters are thicker than others. Not what we want. So really great job here. And then going into the drop shadow again, he clearly understands how a drop shadow works. I'm going to go over a few of the basics of a drop shadow here and where this could slightly be improved. So the easiest way for me to kind of go through this is if I take a cutout of his piece. So here's the cutout. So all I've done is remove the background and the shadow that he's introduced, and then we're going to go from a light source. So when you have your piece, and you want to project a drop shadow, we need to decide where we want the light source to be coming from. So he has gone, if we refer back to his original piece, he's gone with a light source up here in the top right. Okay, so yep, so we've got a light source up there. As you can see, he's projected the light, which will be coming down from this way. So yeah, he's got a light source coming down here, and that is projecting a shadow on this side, on the left hand side of his lettering. So the shadow is always on the opposite side of where the light source is coming from. So if we just remove his piece and pull mine back up, and the way that I've created his shadow is just by taking a copy of his piece, putting color overlay on it of grey, and then moving it across. So we've got the light coming here, projecting down. Okay, so it's always sort of best to learn the rule of how shadows work rather than just how to put a shadow on your throw up or your lettering, because you'll be able to apply it to other art forms and other pieces, and you'll just know the rule rather than just being lazy and learning it on your specific piece in that instance. So I'll go for another example here. If we put the light source up in the top left instead, this will not be the shadow we'll get. So we've got the light source traveling in this direction here, it will hit the lettering, and we will have a shadow here. And then you can really get into how the light source is hitting the object and where it's hitting the object from. For example, you can sort of relate it to the sun in the sky. The higher the sun is in the sky, the shorter the shadows are from the angle that they're hitting kind of the object. So say the light source is lower down like this, we will no longer have this shadow because we've got the light traveling in this direction here. The shadow will be more like this, and the shadows will also be longer. For example, when the light source hits the top of this R, hitting it at a straighter angle, so it's got to travel in this direction before it can cast light again. And then all of this area here is shadowed from that S. Okay, I'd like to talk about his exterior details now. If I just pull up his original piece and then just highlight these exterior details, I don't feel like they add much to the piece and they're just there for the sake of it. I can see why he's done it. It's to add a little bit of interest and sort of look like the piece is crumbling away in a little bit more detail, but it doesn't add anything to the letter structure, and I feel like it's best just to keep things simple and don't really need it. Okay, finally, I've sort of reworked his piece with a new S. I feel like this S works better and sort of balances things out a bit better, and it's structurally sound. But other than that, you know, I can't really say anything else about this piece. Really nice work, and thank you very much for sending this in for me to talk about. Now, I would like to also say that if you'd like your piece critiqued in a future episode of Style Study, then very simply just send me an email, sirpcreative@gmail.com. If you could lay your email out like this, it's really helpful for me. So just your tag name, the amount of time you've been doing graffiti, and which country you're from. And please remember to attach the photo of the work you'd like me to critique in the same email. But anyway, guys, thank you for checking out today's video, and I'll catch you in the next one.